Hi everybody, I'm going to do you an afternoon reading. If you do like these readings, make sure to follow my YouTube. It's in my bio. It's called Quantum Princess Wisdom. If you want, you can book your own intuitive, full, in-depth reading as well. If you go onto my YouTube, in the description, my store's there and you can book there. So let's see what you should know for your highest and most greatest good. Okay, Empress came out straight away. I feel like there's someone that misses you an awful lot, and I mean like every time they think about you, which they're doing a lot in their own imagination, they are just thinking how much they miss you and how much they love you. And I'm getting loved and love. So they're no longer in your energy, as in you're not physically with them, but spiritually you're still connected to them, and they are constantly thinking about how much they miss you. They're constantly thinking about how much you mean to them, and they can see clearly now. At the time when you were with them, they could not see you for who you really were. They saw you as their own insecurities, hence why they projected onto you and made you feel like absolute shit. And so now you're no longer with them. To you, everything feels better and seems better because you know that they were only keeping you small and keeping you stuck and limited and trapped because they kept making you feel like you were never good enough. And so you're doing better without them because you know that you were always good enough. It was them projecting their own insecurities onto you. You tried to save them, but as you know now, you can't save anyone. They have to save themselves. Because this is separation, you're no longer with them physically, they are starting to see you clearly. They really see you for who you are and they miss what they had. They feel so sad with the fact that they feel they'll never experience that ever again. Unless it's you, it's not going to be anyone. They're not going to be able to experience that energy ever again. They are putting themselves down because they had such a great thing and they were not grateful for it in the times they had it. They were not seeing you clearly for who you are. And so it's only when the universe took you away from them, which in the moments of time, yes, it may be the most painful thing you went through. And you could have started blaming the universe for why you. But now you understand. The universe put you apart for you, to benefit you, right? If you stayed with that person, you would only ever go downhill. They would only ever keep projecting onto you. Every time you tried to fill their cup was already empty. You were just draining yourself constantly over and over again. And so now they're literally just thinking, oh my gosh, I had such a good thing. I had such a great thing. And I messed it up and I fucked it up. And I'm never going to be able to meet anyone like that ever again. And best believe they won't ever, ever. Anyone they find now is like they're trying to find a replacement of you. And every individual that they are in contact with and that they get into a relationship with, they see you in everyone, right? That's why it draws them to the people that it draws them to. But the thing is, as soon as they realize that that person does not hit anywhere near as deep as the emotional connection with you and them, it's game over. And so I'm getting twin flame. I think this was a really, really intense, deep soul connection, really, really real and raw. So painful, but so passionate and so real. But you had to leave when you did, right? And I don't think it was easy for you to walk away. I do think it was like a leading up to an event, and this specific event that took place, you had no other option but to leave. You had no other option. And so for you, you're focusing on your career and going forward and moving forward. I don't think you even have love on your mind right now. That's not something where you're diving deep into right now. You're focusing on yourself, being stable with yourself, your finances, again, career keeps coming out, and just building something for yourself, right? So you can now match. I'm getting with this person, but this person has a lot of internal work to go through. Their life is not going to be able to move forward until they take accountability of the way they treated you. And yes, they think about you and they know they were in the wrong and they know they badmouthed you when you guys broke up, because interesting. That was so interesting. Okay, so that's how your person feels, right? They think about you in their imagination, how much they miss you, how incredible you are, how they're never going to find anything like you again, right? And then they think about all the backstabbing comments they made about you, all the lies, all the things they said about you to other people to make them feel like the good person and you the villain. And every time they think about it, and they think, why did I do that? Their mind goes completely blank. Like they're in shock. They're in shock with themselves that they acted that way, that they tried to pour you in such a negative light. They're literally shocked. They're shocked with themselves. They cannot believe that they did that, because they see you clearly now. They see that you're such a good person. You're such a good soul. You are so giving, caring, kind. They see that. And so they feel so ashamed every time they think about the fact that they were the very ones to try and paint you to be the villain the whole time after the separation. And they feel so awful. They're in shock. They're in shock. So yeah, nothing's going to change for this person until they take accountability for their actions, right? Because that's the only way that they're ever going to change going forward. And if this person doesn't change, they're going to keep meeting an old version of you, right? Your wounded feminine and masculine energy. They're going to meet that in a person for them to keep playing out the cycles of them victimizing themselves, falling for someone. But it's like getting someone into their energy by manipulating them. Toxic trauma bond, right? If they don't change and take accountability, they're going to be forever in this cycle. There's something about them already replaying this cycle numerous times since your separation. I'm getting 6 times, because this person, when they get into relationships, they don't actually get into a relationship, right? They're an avoidant. So they get into situationships, they last for a few months, or on to the next. Again, they get into a situationship for a few months, on the next, and it keeps on going. So the fact that you had the time you did with this person is also something that's going to awaken them to what life is truly about, because they're not going to be able to have that with anyone else. You know, that they're never going to find that. And so it forces them to go within, because now they're thinking, wait, how come this person stayed as long as they did when I treated them like absolute shit? Normally people would leave, or I leave them, but we both stayed with each other. What is that about? And so your person is going to have a spiritual awakening. I say your person, I know you're not together, but I do feel like this is destined to be. Again, it's a twin flame connection. I was going to say soulmate. You're supposed to come back after you've done the internal work. That's what these relationships are all about. Because the truth about a twin flame connection is it's all about you. It's not about the other person. They're mirroring the work that you do. So again, you change your thinking. They'll be healing their cycles, their patterns, their behavior. You heal your mother and father wounds. They'll be doing the same. If you were to remain your old version and keep continuing getting into relationships, that's when they would continue the same cycles. They've already repeated the same cycles numerous times. Right? When you were in that pain, I was going to say in that stage of pain and hurt, but now you're working on themselves, that's when they're having the awakening. When you work on themselves, they have an awakening. They wake up to their own behaviors, their own patterns, their own cycles, their own bullshit, because they're reflecting that you're doing the internal work, right? So truly incredible. And guys, like I said, if you want to book your own full in-depth intuitive reading, you can do so. Go onto my YouTube, and at the description, my store's there. It's called Intuitive Reading. Also, make sure you are following my YouTube. I'm going to do longer videos on there. So bye.